I got to bring it up. We were talking before the series started. You saw the Cubs in Game 2 where you were going to be facing TBD as the starting pitcher, and immediately I just assumed that meant they were just waiting to reinstate Marcus Stroman from the IL from his hip injury, and he would start. But I think it was Wednesday afternoon, or maybe it was Tuesday the night before. They announced that he had another injury and would not be returning. So it was Assad that would be pitching instead. But the Ass Man, oh, that's a new nickname I got to get started. I think I saw somebody do
Carne
that.
Assad is what I like to call him.
That might work too. But what the fuck is going on with Stroman? I mean, he started the season as a Cy Young candidate. He was so good. I forget how many quality starts he had in a row, but it was impressive. And then
yeah, it was incredible.
He goes to London and just goes to shit. Like there was like from that start on, he had like an 80 ERA, and it kind of made me feel better that this hip injury, might be the cause of it that he kind of described. But it wasn't really an injury. It was just something that just kind of the way he described it just got worse and worse, and he had was able to use his lower half less and less until he was just all arm. And I don't know. It was kind of weird how he described that to begin with, but apparently he got a cortisone shot that would take care of it. It kind of felt like the IL stint that was just to give a guy a rest, and they just sort of made up an injury. And
yeah, I felt the same way exactly.
So I was encouraged about that because, well, shit, he's coming right off after the 15 days or 10 days and ready to go. But then we hear of a mysterious fractured rib cartilage injury that apparently no one's ever heard of, at least for a pitcher suffering it. I've never heard of it. I mean, you've heard of fractured ribs,
usually
fractured cartilage. That sounds bizarre, but even more bizarre than that is nobody knows how it happened. Marcus Stroman can't even tell you why it happened or how it happened. I don't know if this is just radio speculation, but everyone I hear keeps saying that, well, that has to be a blunt force impact to cause a fracture, which I don't know if that's just trying to use common sense on how something like that could happen. But he's not saying he didn't get punched in the ribs. The mystery comes around. He does take ground balls every day or every other day, which is not a typical pitcher's routine. I think he's a former shortstop, so he just likes taking ground balls. It's just part of his routine. So the speculation when they were in Toronto, he was doing that and fucked up his ribs somehow. So now there's no timetable for a return because what do you do for ribs? I mean, you can't you know, put a cast on them. You can't do anything. I've never broken ribs or had an issues like that, but it's the same as like an oblique injury. You just sort of have to let it sit for a while, and then hopefully you come back in a shorter time span. But the problem with that is he's got to ramp back up again after he's had no activities trying to rest the ribs. So he might be out for the rest of the season, and that's a kick to the balls for the Cubs playoff hopes and the thoughts. Thinking that as thin as that rotation is, it just got thinner. It was working out, I thought, him coming back because they had to demote Drew Smyly to the bullpen, which I thought there was a good chance, and he was already showing that he could be an effective lefty that they would actually need because they have no lefties in the pen as it is. But he's going to have to move back into the rotation now. In fact, I think he's going to be going against the Tigers tomorrow night. So now it thins out that bullpen that I thought they were bolstering.
Right.
It's just a disaster. And it's like, it's just so many weird things have happened with Stroman this year. I didn't even mention, the weird negotiating his contract extension in the media before it was even an issue. He made it an issue, which it's his prerogative, but that's kind of an odd thing. But then all this shit has happened since that. So I don't know what to think of it.
I would think it's just Marcus Stroman being Marcus Stroman. I mean, you could, I just want to make sure my memory was clear on it. I just quickly Googled his name with like Marcus Stroman incidents. It's Google pages long.
Yeah,
there's the other teams.
There was shit in Toronto. There was shit in New York. So
yeah. So, I mean, he always has pockets of time within the season where he does perform unbelievably well, but it's just there is an inconsistency. I think in Toronto was he started off horribly but finished really strong. So like, but he's not I mean, I hate to say it, but I just don't think he's like right in the head, and then it affects him in other ways. And the rib injury,
I think
I
that's
don't know.
I think that's legit. I don't think you can fake a rib injury. I think there's
Oh no! I'm not saying that, but how he got it
well, that's the
is
thing. Like
yeah,
there's got to be X-ray evidence to show that it's fractured cartilage. The issue is how the fuck did it happen? The Cubs don't sound like they know. They were completely blindsided by it during the Sox series because he was supposed to pitch game two, and Jed was just kind of befuddled. Like we don't know what happened. We're not sure. And then
maybe dirt.
Stroman's not afraid of the camera. He'll talk to any reporters, but
Yeah,
his explanation just didn't make any sense. It's not that it was even an explanation. He just didn't really have one. He didn't know how it happened. So I don't know what to think. I do know that I think they should not extend him beyond he
yeah,
does have one more
for
year
sure.
after
Though.
this. So I don't think you can trust him, whether it's a physical issue that he's going to break down halfway through a season, or weird shit goes on, just seems to follow him in general. I don't think there's a reason to extend him. Get all you can from him. Probably nothing for the rest of this season. Hopefully he comes back stronger next year, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps he was riding motorcycles with Fernando Tatis or something. You know, you don't know.
You never know.
Word Hole Media.